welcome. Hope my levels are okay because I did not check them. Well, I'm probably coming out only one speaker. Let me fix that real quick. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's turn that bit of wonderful stock music from epidemicsound.com. So that is free and clear. I did pay for a subscription, and I'm not going to try to sell you guys on that. Welcome to the final stream of 2020, the live stream. These kind of impromptu live streams that I love to do more like maybe once a week or so. Once or twice, why not? But I figured, hey, you guys like hanging out with us, and no, it's not Audio Jungle. Although I do like Audio Jungle. I'm a big fan of the Envato Elements because it's one time, you pay one time and you get a bunch of stuff. That's what I love about Envato Elements. But yeah, welcome to 2020. So I go ahead and I put in the topic and the title of the video, I tell you filmmaking's dirty little secret. And I think this is something that I've kind of come along to thinking about recently, that I've been doing some more work. If you guys followed my stream, I did some work with Discovery Channel. And then recently I talked to, I had an interesting Facebook argument maybe a week ago about some detail about filmmaking. And I love this person, I guess used to be a friend of mine, not so much anymore, decided he wanted to kind of go off after me and saying, well, I work in the entertainment industry. What do you know about filmmaking? You do like city videos. This is true. I make videos for the city. I make YouTube. So what do I know about the entertainment industry? I'm not some insider. What do I know about lenses and cameras? I don't work in entertainment. I work in videos and YouTube and city productions and that kind of stuff. And I got thinking about that, like this attitude that if you work in Hollywood, if you work in movies, that you have some kind of special knowledge that the rest of you don't. The rest of us in list of small folks down here pleading, please, sir, may I have another script? May I have another viewer? May I have another video? No, all us down here in the real world don't know anything about cameras, lenses, and optics and stuff like that. That only Hollywood, only the Hollywood and television and entertainment industry. Ooh, the entertainment industry. You must know something about cameras and photography that I don't know, right? So now I'm going to tell you this little dirty secret, and that's filmmakers and movies, the people that make the big movies, they don't know anything that we don't, and they're not really doing anything particularly special that we aren't doing. Now, the difference between us little folks down here on the ground and Warner Brothers is money. That's all it is. They spend a lot more money than we do on what we can do. We're pulling this off with a camera hooked up to a A10 Mini, which this one's a $300 thing, but we have much cheaper. My phone's going crazy. Much cheaper equipment, much more affordable things, and the big Hollywood studios, they have money and people. So when you have one person working, as a camera operator, as a DP, as a gaffer, as all the jobs, editor even, one person doing all that, versus Hollywood, which has one person doing every tiny little job. And when you add all those people up, that equates to moolah. It's a lot of money. I don't know where I'm going with it. My point is, I think my ultimate point I'm trying to make in this little grandiose, this rant here, is that for the longest time, even myself, and when I ran Filmmaker IQ as a blog, and I used to run it I'd post articles about how professional filmmakers do things, tutorials and stuff like that. I built in my mind this idea that Hollywood, that television, were very professional, very, very serious way of making films, and that I, as this heel scratcher, was not doing it right, not doing it the way that those big guys did it. Those guys, they did. And then what I'm realizing, the more and more I kind of brush against Hollywood and bigger productions, no, they're all doing the same thing. And as much as like, oh, the entertainment industry, oh my goodness, such a grandiose place, the entertainment industry. Dude, the entertainment industry is what you watch when you're sitting on the toilet with your phone. Like, oh, that's a really good Netflix show. It's what you watch when you're sitting in the subway waiting. The entertainment, give me a break. Like, do you ever think about like how much? Okay, so who buys those really expensive high megapixel cameras? Who buys them? Commercial photographers. And what do commercial photographers do? They shoot photos. You know, not everyone's Annie Leibovitz. Not everyone's making, well, even Annie Leibovitz. Even Annie Leibovitz shooting her fashion photos. What happens to most of the photos that she shoots? They ends up in the garbage. It ends up in landfills. Dude, people shoot $60,000, medium format digital cameras. They shoot these product ads, and what those ads go into magazines, and the magazines go into the lining of your bird cage to get pooped on. Like, it's amazing, like how much we've kind of inflated this idea of professional media production, and it's so effing commonplace that we use it to line the bottom of our pets' cages. Puts in perspective, man, of how much it matters and how much it doesn't matter. So don't get so caught up like I still probably am, so caught up in this idea that these other people are so much more better. They do things better than you do. They don't. They're doing the exact same thing, only they may be segmented differently. And that's the beauty thing. That's what's wonderful. Every time I go work with another organization that's like I consider bigger than myself, I learn so much. And it's not about like this. I don't learn about cinematography. I learn about how do you organize. And I think that's the biggest difference between the small guys and the big guys is just people. Like that's it. That's really the difference between a small movie and a big movie is the number of people working on it. And I'm talking about like small as in like really small. Like small movies have a smaller team working. How many people work on Mandalorian? How many people work on Cats of all how many people work on all these CGI? Wait, sit through those credits. Look at count the names. Thousands, right? Versus like a smaller movie where it's like 30 people. Maybe, Anyhow, that's my big rant. I've been ignoring you guys I've been ignoring all your comments. This is generally a comment show. I've got 100 viewers now. Wow, that's incredible. Because I just shared with you Filmmaking's Dirty Secret. That's the other thing I wanted to point out. So don't get this idea that, Hollywood is some special thing. Whenever you watch behind the scenes videos, so if you don't know, Filmmaker IQ used to be it started off as a blog where I would blog like everything, all the cool, my phone's just going crazy. I would blog about all the articles, all the behind the scenes videos, tutorial videos. I would blog all this stuff, right? And then it kind of morphed into doing YouTube videos. And then at this point, the site's so wrecked, I decided to get rid of the blog entirely. And now we're just focusing on YouTube and me hanging out with you guys. So I was the drug dealer. I was the guy that would post all these articles. Yes, like the aggregator sites, like No Film School, like, the photo sites out there. I would give you the drug. I would give you the filmmaking drug, because filmmaking drug is kind of, it's something you can take while actually not making films. Right? It's something you can take, you can feel like, oh, I'm learning about filmmaking by watching this behind the scenes video. But you're not really making films, and you're not really learning about filmmaking. It's just a drug. It's phony, right? Anyhow, so I used to serve this to people, this drug. And the dirty secret about the making of videos and the behind the scenes documentaries is they're all bullshit. Oh, I think I just lost monetization right there. They're entirely bullshit because they are all marketing. Like if you ever watched a HBO behind the scenes documentary, it's an ad. It's an ad for the movie or the TV show. It's not showing you how the real process is done. They don't want to show you that because it's boring. It's what's like. You want to what's it like to watch a screenwriter work? Here's what it looks like. Except it wouldn't be Diet Coke. It would be like gin or something hard. It's boring. Watching filmmakers work is boring. It's boring, 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 boring. And on top of that, behind the scenes stuff is advertising. Now, I'll give you an example. I love watching Red Letter Media and watching them watch behind the scenes videos of how many times do you hear this in the behind the scenes video? Well, the reason why I joined this project is I always wanted to work on a John Hess production. I mean, I've always wanted to work with John Hess. You hear that every effing time. I've always wanted to work with Howard. He's an incredible filmmaker. When I got the script, I read through it, and I couldn't put it down. How many times have you heard that stupid line? I read the script, and it jumped out at me. This is a story that needed to be told. Every freaking time, every behind the scenes, it grates me so much. And I realize people kind of train themselves to say, well, this is something I've always wanted to work with somebody. No, you just want to check. Hey, you want money, and let's face it, we all want money. And if you can have fun, making money, which is what filmmaking is, if you can actually make it pay, it's a terrific job because it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's engrossing, but and you get paid, so it's wonderful, But don't pretend oh, this is some high crazy art we're making. I mean, it is art, but come on. Anyhow, I'm being a little bit cynical. It's a little cynical. It's the end of 2020. I'm allowed to be cynical, right? 2020 is almost over. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. That's what I wanted to complain. My Google Assistant's going crazy. What do you want? What do you want, man? You're trying to explain to me. So, all right. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Okay, 144 viewers. Why are you guys watching me? Because I'm telling you this dirty little secret? That's probably what it is, and my weird thumbnail. So the other thing I've been really hesitant and I'm really kind of resisting is using my face in funny ways on YouTube, because it annoys me. I hate those YouTube thumbnails where But then again, then I found a way, if I can make fun of that, if I can kind of play with it, and it's more of a joke rather than an enticing. Because to me, my brain has always associated the funny thumbnail with clickbait. You'll never believe what so-and-so said. It's all right. But if I can kind of make it a joke, that's kind of fun. Oh my goodness, what's going on? So what's going on, chat? Usually these are chat shows, and I hang out with a chat, and I kind of answer questions, and we talk about the topics of the day. So I imagine we're probably going to let's talk about the two do the soy boy face. There you go. John Smith says do the soy boy. I don't know which face that is, and probably because I am Asian, so I am soy boy. Maybe. Is that the soy boy face? Okay. I am not going crazy. Okay, Max, this guy calls you a peepee head. All right, you get to go away. You keep that up. So anyhow, let's talk about the two biggest. Well, let's talk about the two big movies right now. So we got Wonder Woman 1984, and let's talk about the Wonder Woman 1884. I saw it. I'm not going to give you. If you've seen it, you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, you can see if you want. To me, it was okay. Now, here's the thing. I adore Gal Gadot, and I adore Chris Pine. I think Chris Pine is. I mean, let's not homoing it here, but he is one hot dude. I mean, he's a good-looking guy. But the Gal Gadot and Chris Pine together are and I really like Kristen Wiig. I really like Kristen Wiig. And then since The Mandalorian, we saw Pedro Pascal take off his helmet, and oh yeah, that's what Pedro Pascal looks like. He looks he's like a little older, daddier version of his, more of a dad bod version than he was in Game of Thrones, right? So I like Pedro Pascal. So I enjoyed watching them on Wonder Woman 1984. But was the film everything that I wanted? Everything was wow, this is amazing. It was okay. It was more like a let's get together and they made a movie. Okay. Now, honestly, I did kind of get tired halfway, so I think I paused it and had like lunch, and I came back and I finished it, and it was okay. Now, one thing I will say about 1984 that I liked, that to me was like what put me over from like this movie is kind of dull and boring to like, hey, you know, at least it's trying, was the fact, and spoilers, if you don't want to watch the movie, if you wanted to watch the movie, you probably would have seen it by now. But if you don't, spoilers, whatever. And I'll be very light with the spoilers. Wonder Woman doesn't punch the bad guy in the end. That's not how she wins. She doesn't win by punching out the bad guy. She wins by changing his heart. And I gotta admit, to me, that little bit is refreshing in the superhero genre. That's not just, oh, at the very end, kapow, you're down, we win. It's got that femininity to it, that it is, I'm going to change your heart, and that is how we get better. It's like Captain EO from Disneyland. Michael Jackson doesn't walk in and punch out the octopus lady. He walks in, and he starts dancing, and he's like, I bring you love! And he shoots like rainbows out of his hand, and the evil witch is like, oh, no! And then she transforms into a beautiful queen, and everyone's happy, and they're all dancing to you know, Michael Jackson music, right? That's what Wonder Woman... Why do I go there? That's a weird way to go. But that's what my thoughts about Wonder Woman 1984. Like, I appreciate the fact that it wasn't just like, let's just punch out the bad guy, and that's got a little bit of a sweet little message in it. One thing I have noticed that was weird about that film that no one seems to be mentioning is that the talisman that they use, the crystal, is very phallic shaped. Am I the only person that noticed that? The MacGuffin used to kind of push the story along, the crystal that you touch that makes all your wishes possible, looks kind of like a penis. I don't know. Like, when I first saw it, I'm like, dude, that's a crystal dildo. Oh, shit. Oops. It's Wonder Woman. I mean, gender thing is like, they put the gender thing right in your face at the very beginning. You know, the whole thing's about women. And then here's an object that looks like a penis. All right. Am I gone crazy? Critical Thinker called it a dildo stone. Thank you, Rick H. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to, let's show that comment. Oops, my chair is like backing up. Yeah, all right. So I'm not the only person that noticed it, but no one's like, in every review I've read, I've never seen anything about it. And the other thing a little bugs me too, like, look, it's Wonder Woman in 1984 is not a great movie. I won't even say it's barely even a good movie, right? It's an average so-so movie. To me, it's bettered by the message. Okay, whatever. But then you got people online like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. This is a waste of 2 hours. Like, okay, it's a little long. I get it. Worst thing ever. This is horrible. It's like, dude, you ever notice, like if you ever see a baby, like, walking on a street and, like, somebody, like, taps the baby on the arm, it's like, ah! It starts bawling its eyes out. Because in reality, that pain that the baby just felt was the worst thing he has ever experienced in his life. Because he has had no life. He's lived on this planet for 18 months. Like, a little pinch is like, ah, God, that hurts like so much. It's like, that's what to me is like when somebody says Wonder Woman 1984 is the worst movie they've ever seen. That's like a baby being pinched. It's like, dude, you do not know what the worst movie. The worst movies I've ever seen in my life, you know where I saw them? At film festivals. Oh my Lord. Don't get me started. In fact, we will not get started on that topic. The pain is so fresh in my heart. It aches from the film festivals. Oh my God. Anyhow. So, you know what? What's interesting about Wonder Woman 1984, at least it was shot in it was in focus. That was good. And the colors exposure was pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so from a movie that's so-so to a movie that's utterly fantastic, and that is the other big movie that came out in Christmas, which was Soul. Soul from Pixar on Disney Plus. If you have not watched Soul, I would recommend that is the movie you spend your time checking out. Soul. It is basically, I consider it the spiritual successor to Inside Out. Now, Soul to me doesn't have quite the tear-jerking, like knockout punch that Pixar is known for. But again, Inside Out didn't have it either. But it has such cool and interesting ideas, and it presents them in such an interesting way. And Pete Docter, and I think also did Coco. I think Pete Docter also directed that too. But it just makes you realize, man, I would love to be over there at Pixar and work with those guys, because that little studio, what they're doing is just so clever and interesting. Sure, they make a Cars 3, but whatever. But Soul, and also as a band geek, as last time we were on stream, I did a little trumpet playing. As a band geek, it was very, very, very accurate to the band experience. Holy moly, it was so accurate. Yeah, Soul, I would, Paul Smith says, I've got Soul on my list. I think you've recommended a few. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even think about it, but, Coco was Lee Unkrich. Okay, maybe Pete Docter, was he up? Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, so, Soul is definitely, it's a clever movie, and we talk about, like, if you watch my video talking about Coco was ultimately a story about death, which maybe is a pattern, because this movie starts off with a death. And like, we can't get around it. The premise is the guy dies, and he's it's a very thought-provoking movie. Like I said, it doesn't have that punch where it gets you like tearing up, but it's got such a clever and interesting, take on personality, the meaning of life, that it's such a brilliant and worthy watch. So on Christmas, I actually watched Wonder Woman 1984. I watched Soul, and then I went because I haven't seen them yet, I went and started watching Studio Ghibli's collection on HBO Max, and I watched Spirited Away. Now, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm not like in love with Studio Ghibli. I appreciate it. I get where it came from, but I think because I'm not gonna honk my own horn here, because I'm Asian, and not honking my horn because I'm Asian. I was born in Taiwan, so anime doesn't feel foreign to me. It feels like I grew up around anime kind of, and then I've always had a very weird relationship to my Asian heritage. Like when I was a kid, because I'm half American and I'm half Asian, and I came to the United States in 1989, when I was like 7 years old, and I kind of wanted to get away from my Asian heritage and be American. So I never liked anime. It wasn't exotic to me. It was, that's part of my life that's over there. Now, as I've gotten older, I'm obviously much more at ease with my half Asian heritage, right? So I appreciate. So I watched Spirited Away on Christmas. I watched Wonder Woman 84, Soul, and then Spirited Away. And Spirited Away was like, what? My jaw was like on the floor of half that movie. I mean, I think I appreciate the audacity of that movie more than anything else. Like some of the I'll continue. So my Studio Ghibli record went from Spirited Away, then I went back and watched My Neighbor Totoro, which I thought was nice. It didn't have the magic for me, and didn't really work for me. Then I watched Kiki's Delivery Service. I like Kiki. I think I like of the three, Spirited Away, Totoro, and Kiki. I think Kiki was my favorite so far, because I liked the character of Kiki. She was just drawn in such a cute way that I don't know, the red bow. Look, dude, red. Come on, man. You give me red, I'm yours, baby. So I think Kiki's so far my favorite. I'll probably watch Princess Mononoke. I'm sorry, I pronounced that wrong. But I'll probably watch that next on my list. So anyhow, that's what I want to talk about, the movies that I saw. And you guys are, man, I don't know why there's like 140 people watching me yammer on about stuff. Probably the title and the weird ass thumbnail. But Tom Whiteside says the beauty of America is that if you're American, you're American, no matter how else your bloodline are welcome. The more, the merrier, and I agree with that. So talk about my heritage, and well, this won't get me canceled. This is my experience, right? So I was born. My dad's American, my mom's Taiwanese. I was born in Taiwan, but in Taiwan I was the American kid because I don't look fully Taiwanese. I look somewhat American. Came to America, I was the Asian kid, right? So, like, all my life, I've kind of felt out and out being as an outsider. I've never felt like I'm belonged inside the culture because I'm obviously somewhat outside of it. I think it's, now we're going to get into psychoanalysis here. It's always been sort of my nature to feel a little bit like an outsider on everything. I've always felt a little bit like that. So, yeah. So, but I appreciate what I do appreciate about American values, at least the old, and that's why I do have an American flag on my desk when I shoot our videos, is that this is a place that you can come and be welcomed, and as you can be any race, and if you come to America and you embrace the American values, you're American. That's it. That's all there is to it, and I do like that. Anyhow, Joseph Pang asks, "Can I speak Chinese?" And the answer is, I can speak a little tiny bit. I can count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I can count 10, I know, like, 我肚子饿, which means I'm hungry, which literally means my stomach hurts, kind of. 肚子, 所以, I know, like, a couple words, 牛肉, which is, 牛肉 is beef, 猪肉 is pork, and chi is chicken, I think. I don't know, something like that. So I speak a little bit of Chinese. My mom speaks Chinese and English. My mom's, not to be a downer, she's having a little bit of issues right now, so... But her English is rough because she's having a little bit of dementia, and the English side of her head is kind of more damaged, so she doesn't understand English as well. So I have to. It's a struggle trying to explain to her. But when I take her to my doctor, whose doctor speaks Chinese, they go at it like, I don't know, like nothing's happened. So I think Chinese is still more strong on her. Can you speak Thai as in Taiwan? No, Taiwan is not Thai. So anyhow. Howdy, Ignacio Montalvo. Now I'm going to go back to chat. I'm going to spend some attention to you guys, chat, because that's what we usually do on these live streams. We hang out together. We talk about what's going on. I thought I got rid of you, man. All right, you're going bye-bye. This guy just won't go away. So all right. So hey, Ignacio from Madrid, Spain. Thanks for being an inspiration. Yes, thanks for hanging out with us. Let's see. Oh, check us, Wrenchmine. Rick H. Wrenchmine. All right, cool. Abe Froman keeps asking, thoughts on Tenet? I've literally talked about Tenet on the last 3 streams. Literally talked about it. So I'm going to kibosh on the Tenet talk. We can go back and revisit the last 3. I think 3 streams I've talked about Tenet. Do you have any recommendations for when grading drone footage recorded in log rec 709? I'm not sure. What 709 log and rec 709 are 2 different things, so you can't have both. 5750 Mike says, please, more dirty secrets. Here's another dirty secret. They put like when you do a nude scene, and if you're doing it like professionally, they put like stuff on your junk, like they literally like wrap your junk in like a sticker. That's a dirty secret. Dirty jobs. Mike Rowe will be proud of that job, right? I've read too much about how to do that. Way too much. Account for Comment says, what is a typical trait of a director that you see other than confidence? I think director, to me, everybody thinks they can be a director, and everybody can in somewhat be a director, right? Because it's just a matter of telling people what to do. It's like the boss. Everybody can be a boss. Not everybody can be a good boss. I think the thing about being a director is that in the indie world, a director and a producer are more closely tied in, let's say, like a studio world. A studio, maybe a director can be kind of just this pie in the sky, kind of come up with all these ideas. And really the job of the director is to be the creative producer. Like, everything has to a conduit for all the creative decisions go through the director. That's what a director does, right? So, and the producer is really what handles all the business decisions. How do we even do this? The director will say, I want to have this song in my movie. And the producer will say, okay, it's going to cost this much, and this is how I'm going to get the money. And these are the people I need to talk to, and these are the licensing deals I need to make. So that's the interplay between producer and director. In an indie world, they're pretty much combined together. Like, directors really have to be producers in some sense, right? So, good traits in a director, I think, is basically kind of, I think, a forethought, a creative consistency, creative, what's the word, neatness, organization, creative organization, forethought, and I think another good thing about being being a good director, if we're talking about good directing, is not being afraid, being open to the universe as far as ideas. Like, so I was streaming this one funeral. I know we're gonna take a dark turn here. I was streaming this funeral the other day, and there was a wake, so they wanted a stream on air for like 3 hours on Zoom, and they wanted this slideshow, like 900 photos in a slideshow, and it had like his favorite songs playing. And I was like, well, I'm not going to time 900 photos for 3 hours. So I'm just going to throw them into Lightroom and just spit out a hour-long slideshow. And then I was surprised, listening to the music, watching the stream, how many times the photo and the music matched perfectly. Now, it's not surprising if you have a little bit of science, because our brains are pattern recognition machines. Our brains instantly assign, patterns. So we see a photo, we see a music, and it's just right. Wow. It's amazing how that came together, right? No, it's just coincidence. But it still means something when you're watching it. See, that's the thing. Like, the small brain is like, oh, it's just a coincidence. The bigger brain is realizing, oh, it's a coincidence, but our brains recognize it as a pattern. But the even bigger brain is, even though it's just a coincidence and our brains recognize it as a pattern, that still means something to us. Just because it's, luck doesn't mean something. It doesn't have any value. So I think if you're a director, if you're open to that, if you're open to like, that worked. I didn't plan for that, but it worked. It worked. If you can be open to that, you make yourself so much bigger. That's another thing, a dirty little filmmaking secret, right? If you want more dirty secrets, that's another dirty secret, is that people think that Quentin Tarantino or Alfred Hitchcock sit there and they sit down and chomp on a cigar, do that, and it instantly happens. It does not work that way. Now, I know Quentin Tarantino is probably very specific about his script. He writes a script exactly the way he wants it delivered, exactly the way he wants it. But he puts people in the roles that give him what he thinks, that give him something. Like, somebody always contributes something to like Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't think he just reads. I don't think Quentin Tarantino gives DiCaprio line readings, like, say it exactly this way. I think he lets DiCaprio do it, and he trusts DiCaprio to do it right. Any actor, any like, if I wrote a script with you have to be careful with this too. If I wrote a script and I gave it to like not De Niro, but the other guy, the guy from my brain's going. It's sad. It's Al Pacino. If I gave a script to Al Pacino, yes, John, this is a great script. I've always wanted to work on a John Hesh production. Hoo-ha, yeah. It's a horrible Pacino. Horrible. Disgusting. Anyhow, if I gave a script to Pacino, do you think I would have unless Pacino like completely just butchered the wrong, would I give a line reading to Pacino? Like, hey, Pacino, I liked the performance. Can you just say it this way? Meow Mix is really delicious. John, that's horrible. Why am I doing a horrible impression of what's his face? Oh my gosh. Anyhow. All right. So somebody's saying, please never do that Al Pacino impersonation. Oh no, it's not even a person. It's not even an Al person. It's some weird old guy. It's some weird old guy. I don't know. Anyhow, somebody's saying Joseph Siebler, stop spamming. All right, Joseph Siebler, watch. Did you? So let's address his comment. So maybe he'll stop spamming. Did you watch Queen's Gambit? If yes, what are your thoughts? Yes, I did. I enjoyed it very much. I think we talked about Queen's Gambit a couple weeks ago, but I'll just give you a brief notes on that, or just like cliff notes. I like the fact that it undercuts every single trope out there. Emmanuel Rosso says the Oscar goes to, oh yeah, Dunkachino. Now, could you okay? You have Al Pacino. You're like, Al, I loved you. I loved your movie, but can you give me more on the Dunkachino? Say hello to my caffeinated friend. I don't know, what is that? I don't forget what the Dunkachino line was. What was it? So I was watching, and I pushed this last time. I'll push it again. If you have not, there's only one behind the scenes documentary that I thought was good, and that's the series called The Movies That Made Us, because they talk about movies where they're not trying to market the movie. Because I was talking earlier how all these behind the scenes documentaries are bullshit because they're trying to market you the movie, right? The Movies That Made Us, those movies are already marketed, and they don't care, and they're talking to the people that actually make the movies, right? So there's a story about Elf where James Caan, and everyone's terrified of James Caan because he's known to be like a wild man on set, right? So everyone's terrified of James Caan when he comes on set. And the first thing he does is like, hey, I'm James Caan. This is a terrible impersonation again. I'm James Caan, and I want you to know, like, you guys are all right, and everyone's kind of cool with it. But there's a part where Jon Favreau and James Caan are having. James Caan's not giving really the performance that he needs, right? Something's not there. And the story goes that Jon Favreau leans over to James Caan and says, hey, don't you forget, you're and I'm butchering this so bad because I can't remember. You're the guy from The Godfather, Corleone. You're Corleone. Don't forget your motherfucking Corleone. And then he just gives that he snaps into it and he gives that performance that he needs to be. So, all right. So anyhow, so that's all that. Let's go back to your chats because I'm ignoring you guys completely. Frappuccino. Say hello to my little Frappuccino. I don't know. Whatever. John, what is your one favorite horror film of all time? Says Ravitka Ray. Holy moly. Horror film of all time. I really like The Shining. That's probably the one I could watch a lot over and over again. I'm going to go with a very recent one, which is The Witch. The Witch, I really like The Witch. I really like that one. I'm not a big horror fan. I enjoy horror films. I just don't. They're not in my pantheon of movies that I love, But The Witch, I've seen a couple times, and The Shining I've seen a couple times, and they still move me quite. So I will just go with those two. How about that? All right, I'm backing up here. Let's go. George Boisvert says, and Rhode Island film is filmed in Rhode Island with a mix of Hollywood and Georgia at the same time with Florida. Don't you love that? It's like, that's the wonderful thing about Hollywood, or I'm using Hollywood in terms of just movie making, is that we can set movies anywhere. I don't assume that I don't assume The Martian was shot on Mars. Anyhow. All right. Cold Light of Day says, the one thing that horror and comedy share is that their success depends on the element of surprise. That's a good point. That's a very good point. MD Mart says, Shining is pretty but very bad. Yes, so would the Raspberry Committee of 1980 whatever would agree with you, because I believe The Shining got a Raspberry for worst director, because that's the way it is. account for comment wants more dirty secrets. I don't know any more dirty secrets. Sorry about that. Derek Roberts says, did you ever get my Christmas gift in the comments in your November stream to Spotify? Oh, I did not get that. I'm going to have to send it again. It's so, it's weird to... It's weird. Okay, but you remind me of an interesting point I'll talk about. Here's another dirty secret, but it's not a dirty secret. It's a dirty secret of YouTube that I've had to deal with very recently, not very recently, but recently, well, a couple times. So what will happen, I like my video on the horror genre, I will put a clip of The Shining in there, right? Because that's fair use. We're talking about horror films. You got to show a clip of The Shining. That's fine. Then I get a copyright ding on the Shining. Oh my God! Oh shoot! I guess the studio doesn't want that clip shown. No, it's not the studio making the claim. It's this weird small record label. I'm like, why is a record label claiming the Shining clip? So I click on the clip that I'm infringing on, and I click over it, and it's this weird song. It's this rock song. Like, what the hell? That song has nothing to do with The Shining at all. And I keep playing, and then I get to the end of the song. And the end of the song, which has nothing to do with The Shining, the end of the song is the exact clip from the movie played out for like a minute and a half. Like, what the F? So these record labels are slapping on like famous movies onto these songs to try to monetize. God knows how many other video essayists out there, how many billions of views of people, out there producing content, even for completely fair use of The Shining, talking about that scene, and then getting dinged from this stupid record label that, for no reason, puts it at the end of their song. It's a total scam. Now, luckily, I have not been hit by that recently. Not been recently. Not for a long time. Whoa B says the copyright law is out of control. It's not copyright law. It's gaming. It's gaming the system. Gaming YouTube. The law is clear. I think the law is clear. It's the gaming of the law. It's annoying. It's not the law. That's the thing. I'm exceptionally. I'll show that, Derek. What? I can't show it. Oh, Derek Roberts, your link is like killing the stream for some reason. The weird thing about about copyright is I think the bases are so. I lost my train of thought there, but I was saying that the bases are fine. It's just all this weird gaming of the people, the trolls. Trolls are always the problem, right? And that's the problem with copyright law too. Is like you can't write a law and know exactly what people are going to do with it. I mean, that's just the way in reality. You have to put a law into place, and then people mess around with it, and then you have to redo the law, and people mess around with that, and you redo the law. You can't like come forward and say this is exactly the perfect way. That's just unfortunately the way it doesn't work that way. Copyright law always is reactive. You cannot make proactive copyright law. It doesn't work. So anyhow, but hey, that is the discussing law. I'm a huge copyright law nerd. I'm deep in. I love talking about it or thinking about it. But it doesn't fly in internet sarcasm and snarkiness. It just doesn't. Like you guys, like you just Walt Disney, Mickey Mouse, blah, blah. It's like Mickey Mouse. I get it, whatever. But anyhow, show that comment. Oh, so I guess you guys can't put links in the comment section because they will not get through. Anyhow. Nick Manny Steph says, do you like the way Wes Anderson directs his films? What is your opinion of framing and production design? I don't know. I mean, I've seen a couple Wes Anderson films. Oh, Wes Anderson. I thought you're Wes Craven. We're talking about horror films. I'm like, oh, Wes Craven. How would I know what Wes Craven's lines are? But Wes Anderson. Okay, that's different. Wes Anderson, I think he's the best at what he does. He absolutely is. Like, no one can copy Wes Anderson and get away scot-free. Like, I couldn't make a Wes Anderson style film without people saying, dude, you're ripping off Wes Anderson. No one can. So Wes Anderson is so dang unique in his style that no one can copy him. And hey, why not? The problem with that is now if Wes Anderson made a movie where he's not doing his crazy Wes Anderson style, would people be pissed off? That kind of sucks. So he's kind of pigeonholed himself in there. You know, like Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott's an example of a person that really, and his brother Tony Scott, like you kind of knew the kind of film you were going to get with him, but he wasn't so very rigorously a certain style. He wasn't super, religious to one style. You could bounce around to different things. So he has like different capabilities, different freedom to do different things. So I don't know where I'm going with that. I do like even someone like David Fincher, who yes has a style, but he's a lot more freedom in that style. Like Wes Anderson could you imagine Wes Anderson making a horror film? I couldn't imagine it. Could you imagine David Fincher making a family Christmas movie? I mean, I can imagine it. It wouldn't feel so weird, but Wes Anderson making a horror film, that is weird. Anyhow, I don't know. Hey, bonjour, it's 2 a.m. in France. Why now? Why? It's actually only 5 o'clock here, so I decided to go a little earlier. Because I usually do these like at 6 o'clock, so I decided to jump on a little earlier. And it's the last one of 2020. We're saying farewell, 2020. Derek Roberts says, as far as copyright, did Monty Python ever get sued over the name Gumby? Because there was that Python character called Gumby, but he wasn't green and rubbery. Well, copyright doesn't cover names. So, like, I can have a character named Harry. His last name could be Potter. It's not a copyright infringement. His name is Harry Potter. Now, if he's a wizard with a little thing on his face, yeah, that's copyright infringement. Now you're on the border. But it's like Harry Potter. He's a plumber, and he works in Sandusky, Ohio, and he's got a lovely wife named Chelsea. I don't know. Named Herman. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know how far we could take that. But yeah, you can't copyright names. You can't copyright ideas. Like my belief, and this may not. And look, I'm not going to give you copyright advice because I've been slapped with stuff that was like stupid, but whatever. Like I had an issue with a Fox video that now it's kind of gone away, so I don't know what's going on with that. But my personal take is, you can basically take any idea you want and make something, as long as you're not like making a facsimile, up to a facsimile. Now, there's going to be a little line there. There's always a gray area between that black and white, black copyright infringement, white fair use. There's always going to be a gradient in there, right? So like, if I have an idea, like my idea is like, if you go out and you make a video, let's say you make my 24 frames per second video, you make the exact same arguments, but you make your own arguments, you can put them in your words, but you go through my exact same topics that I talk about. That's not copyright infringement. That's your opinion. You're taking your opinions. You're taking mine. Sure, that's fine. But they're ideas. If you're taking my video and you're posting that up, that's copyright infringement. If you're taking my script and you're rereading my script and using my exact same graphics, that's copyright infringement. If you take my ideas and you rewrite them, that's not infringement. That's freedom. And that's what we need. Isn't Harry Potter, Paul Smith says, isn't Harry Potter just a ripoff of The Worst Witch? I have no idea what The Worst Witch is, so sure. Frank's World TV, I love this channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for Frank's World. We all live in our own world, but Frank's World is the best world of all. That's the truth. George, you cannot copyright a fruit unless it's a brand name, unless you don't degrade that brand. Yeah, and then it's not copyright. It's trademark. And trademark is a different set of rules. So you're not dealing with copyright anymore. And trademark is different. And then trademark's very, 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 very confined. You guys, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the story about dumb Starbucks, right? Like this was it the Comedy Central show? I forget the name of the guy. Something for Everyone. But he made this. He wanted to open the store called Dumb Starbucks. He wanted to see how far he could push parody law, right? Because it's not copyright to call yourself Dumb Starbucks. Everything in that Starbucks would be dumb. And then he would come in like, hey, welcome to Dumb Starbucks, and get you a dumb Frappuccino. And like have a dumb scone, that kind of thing, right? And it was like, are the lawyers going to do it? Are they going to pull the trigger and sue them? Are they going to? And then nothing happened. because they partly because they agreed not to sell anything, and then they agreed to take it down immediately. So they weren't going to operate. It's like if you operate a store called Dumb Starbucks and it's got the Starbucks logo with the word dumb over it, yeah, that's trademark infringement, because people go walking in that store like, hey, is this a Starbucks? You know, it says dumb, but is this a Starbucks? Is it related to Starbucks? It's a little bit of confusion there. So yeah, that didn't quite work as parody. Anyhow, I don't know why I went there. Just fun talk about. I love talking about intellectual property because it's fun. But when you talk about, like, people get so, like, angry and upset. We talk about, okay, can I just my rant, another rant here, another rant coming. I feel it coming. Just because you see a movie that has a similar idea to yours doesn't mean they infringed on your ideas. Every time I go through Reddit's copyright forum, but every time I see somebody on there saying, "Hey, this movie copied my movie," and I'll say, "Oh, it's long enough time has passed." The movie called Horse Girl came out, I think it was last year, and some guy on Reddit was like saying they copied my movie. I think I talked about this too. I'm pretty sure I talked about it. So they copied my movie. Like, see, in their movie, a girl, the main protagonist girl, Alison Brie, she loses her father. This is a life-changing event. In my movie, she loses her boyfriend. That's a life-changing event. See, evidence. Copied my idea. Like, literally, his list of 20 beats was literally that kind of copying. And then there was a couple things where, like, oh, she takes some drugs and she goes into this weird other world. In my movie, she takes some drugs and she goes into this weird world, and they're both on white sets. Copied idea. Whatever. I mean, at that point, you would just say, like, well, Harry Potter is basically Jesus Christ, because they both have the same storyline. You know? So look. The brilliant thing about art is the fact that we're telling the same damn story over and over again. The beautiful thing is we tell the same damn story in a slightly different way, and that we can do it so many infinitely different ways. That's what's so great about the monomyth. If you watch Joseph Campbell or follow Joseph Campbell's monomyth, you know that's what Star Wars is based on. That's what Harry Potter is based on. That's what The Lord of the Rings is based on. That's what Coco is based on. What's what every freaking hero movie is based on, the same monomyth. That it's wonderful that we as a species, as humanity, have been able to cajole all these amazing stories out of this one concept. It's awesome. Stranger Sound says, I took drugs and went into another world. They stole my childhood. I'm saying I'm not paying much attention to you guys' chat tonight because I'm just going off on a rando topics. But I noticed that there's a lot of, like, angry discussion going on, which I love, because I think I was thinking about today. But you guys are getting angry at each other. Oh, what the hell? You can talk, you can yell at each other all you want. One of the reasons why I started making videos was to settle debates online. That was really it. I was getting tired of in the forums. We used to have when forums used to be a thing, right, back in the day, when people would argue over, like, focal length or full frame equivalents and that garbage like that, right? And I'd be like, you know what would be, instead of constantly writing out arguments, I'm just going to make a video on the topic, and then you can just post the video and screw all that. And I was watching this. I was going through Reddit the other day. I was in some site. I was looking up, and then I looked up interlacing, and I realized somebody posted my video as an argument on Reddit. Like, good. That's the whole point. Account for Comments says, I hated the monomyth. Too many people's focus on similar and not what's different. Exactly. I agree with you too. Like, yes, don't focus on the similarity. Focus on the differences too. Don't fall for either way. But I think the point of the monomyth is more that all our stories have this tendency. I think that's a good word for it. Tendency. There's a tendency for things to happen in a certain way, and then the variability of all. Not to toot my own horn, but that's you learn that from jazz, right? Jazz has if you study music, right, theory, there's a tendency for music theory to want to head towards certain chords want to head in a certain direction. They want to return home, which is usually like the tonic. So, you know, it's for major music, you know, or major as in major sounding music. So there's a tendency to want to move in a certain direction. And that's what the monomyth is. You know, there's infinite variability, infinite ways that you can arrange chords, you can take melodies all over the place. And sometimes, you know, the same idea with jazz. You can insert a substitution chord. And it's like, why would you do that? But it makes sense because you have guiding tones that guide you a certain way. And then you come back to home, back to tonic. So anyhow. Boy, YouTube is not liking all your guys' comments. He's blocking stuff. I'm gonna, for now, unless you start trolling hard, I'm gonna let you guys fight it out in the comments. Mayor is not in Tom. Mayor as in not minor. Yeah, major. And then look. I don't know my music theory. I'm like first year. I'm done. I finished. I never took a music class in my life. I took private lessons as a trumpet player, but I never took my music theory. Although I have a little bit of theory because I did write my own. As a kid, I would write I would write these musical pieces, and they're not great, but whatever. Hey, well, actually, I did get to state level in one contest. I did get pretty high. But then, because no other kid, what other kids write music, right? Like not classical music. Anyhow, so like. Major is kind of where my knowledge ends. Like minor, I don't quite understand very well. Emiliano says, John, what went wrong with WW84? Well, I missed WW81, or I didn't see Wonder Woman 2 through 83, so that's probably why I didn't understand 84 that much. It was a big jump between the films. I love it. All right, terrible joke. Going to hell for that. Yeah, John Cole says, YouTube keeps blocking people for no reason whatsoever, no cursing or inflated language. It's weird. Yeah, somebody just wrote dildo and it got blocked. Dildo, it's Bilbo Baggins' brother. It's Dildo. That's his name. That was a big joke. When I was in 7th grade reading The Hobbit, that joke would have gone over like crazy, dude. Guys, you guys do not realize how big that joke was in middle school. Dildo Baggins. Dildo Baggins was amazing. Amazing joke. Amazing, guys. I'm going to jump back. We actually have a technical question coming in. You're not going to ask me about Tenet or Wonder Woman 84. You're going to ask, with film production slowing down, digital cinema continuing to dominate, how do you think the Kodak film industry will fare in 2021? I think the film industry will be fine. I think Kodak renewed itself as far as wanting to shoot film, like actually producing film or what's the word I'm looking for? Recommitted itself to producing film. Now, the only film I shoot is still film, so I enjoy shooting still film, you know, and I bounce between Kodak. I use Kodak for color, but I use HP, whatever, the English brand film for black and white. But I think it'll be okay. You know, California's getting hit a little hard right now. We've got a lot of spike as far as our cases are concerned. Our hospitals are having an issue, and that really is a issue of concern. No matter what side you believe the COVID thing is, the fact that the hospitals are having trouble, that's real. You can't argue that. So right now we are pulling the reins back, but I think soon. I really think in the next 2021. We will start seeing that moving the other direction. And not to get too political, because I do a lot of work with school districts. Gavin Newsom is on board with a school opening in February. So knock on wood, we get our schools back open, and we can start getting back into the regular normalcy. Normalcy, what's that? What's that? You mean people can shake hands? Ilford, thank you, Nick Nerese. Ilford is what I'm talking about. HP4 is what I use for black and white. I like HP4. It's very, very utilitarian. Sam Jamison, can you please tell us about your musical performances? Maybe your favorite stage. Oh, you're touching you gave me a hard on for stage musicals. My favorite stage musical. I think Guys and Dolls is probably the best, most rounded stage musical of all because it's so damn entertaining. Kiss Me Kate's another one of my favorites. The one I like to talk about is Ragtime, because I think Ragtime is a fantastic album. Terrible show, but the album is fantastic. It's one of those shows like Ragtime works so much better when you can sit down and listen to it for like 2.5 hours. But when you watch it on stage, it feels like it's rushed. You have to rush through it in order to get through all that freaking music. But Ragtime, the album, is like my favorite stage musical album of all time. But and then Ragtime the movie. If we want to go back to movies, which is who was trivia for you guys in the chat session? Whose was the last okay, how can I word this? Which actor gave his last performance in Ragtime? Go. And unfortunately, I don't think he came out of retirement to do this. If you see if you guys get that answer. All right, jump ahead here. Jay Cool says, did I miss the Tenet discussion? I talked about Tenet like the last 3 times, dude. I know. I realize. Look, I don't expect you guys to go back and watch live streams because they're probably boring if you're not like in them and you're not seeing the comments go by. But basically, if you want Cliff Notes, Tenet, if you know the fact that Edward from Twilight is actually the kid, it makes the movie better, and I wish the movie would have told me that because I had to watch it on YouTube video. The movie would have been better if it actually told you the story instead of trying to be coy. Max Rue, you got it right. James Cagney, last performance, came out of retirement to do the movie Ragtime, and no one remembers the movie Ragtime because it wasn't that great a movie. It was okay. It was so. Although the girl that plays what's her face from the Ragtime? Not Norma Desmond. Dang it. You know, the girl, she was also in the movie Amadeus. And she was really cute. There's some really beautiful, anyhow, I won't go any further with that. Piazza says, how much alcohol have you had to drink? None yet. This is 100% natural John. This is what John is like when he's like, I am done with work for the year. I mean, I'll probably come back and do some work tomorrow, but this is natural John. When I drink, I get a little more, but this is not. Jonathan Celso, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for that. If someone wanted to hire you to make their movie, would you prefer being a DP or director? What role you think best fits you? I'd rather probably be a director. If anybody asks you if you want to be a director, or you say director, do you want to be a director or the fluffer? No, director. Do you want to be the director or the stand? No, the director. I want to be the director. Be the director. Always be the director. Always, because then you have control, and control is good. Although, the other thing. We're late enough in the stream to talk about it, but like when I was working on the Discovery Channel, the one thing that I learned about television is I learned to be so wary of notes. Now I was removed, several times from the actual notes given by the network, so I was far enough away from that. But holy moly, I always thought like I could handle notes. I get notes from my clients all the time. I work for the city, one of the cities nearby, and they give me a lot of notes when I do stuff. And I love their notes because every time you get notes from a client, that's like getting notes from a client is a good thing because they're telling you what to do to make them happy. And you just do it and you make them happy. Now, you might disagree with a note and you can argue with it. Sometimes you do because you're like, hey, I know you want that. But if you did that, I can't do that, and so I'm telling you, I really can't do it. But if you want me to do it, I can do it. That kind of thing. But when you get notes from a client, it's a good thing. I love notes from a client. The worst note from a client is, I don't like it. What do you want me to do about that? The best note of client is, that thing at 10 seconds, can you remove that line? Done. Those are the great notes. That's the best notes. Adler Martin, thanks for the super chat. With smartphones taking over media, do you believe we will soon see a feature of vertical film as long as it's 24 FPS? Oh, I have a board out there, a chalkboard of all the videos that I want to do. and it's got like 25 things on it. It's sad. It's like I'm not gonna be able to get all that finished. But anyhow, I wanted to do a video about vertical video because guess what? Shocker. I'm not the guy that you're gonna. I'm not the guy that you're gonna reach for to rant about vertical video. I'm not. You cannot get me upset about vertical video because I kind of like it. Dun dun dun. So I'll share with you why. My caveat: I like vertical video when you watch it on your phone. That's the only time I like vertical video. Because when I watch a vertical video on my phone, it actually looks pretty cool. I gotta admit. Like, have you guys seen the one that, what's his face made for Apple? The guy that made La La Land? I can't forget. My brain's not there. Not because I've been drinking, it's because if you follow the streams, you know I don't know names. But yeah, he made one for La La Land, and I thought, that's pretty good. And if you go on like Vimeo, there's a lot of vertical video like festivals. Some pretty amazing stuff because there's something about holding something in your hand and having the whole screen covered up in a vertical sense. It's like, wow, that's pretty cool. And if you're a fan of Snapchat and OnlyFans, there's some vertical videos that, okay, this is a family show. We shouldn't talk about Damien Chazelle. Thank you so much. Thank you for pulling me out of that hole that I was digging for myself there, Donnie. Yeah, so vertical video, as long as it's on a phone, I'm totally cool with it. Are you going to see vertical videos in the theater? Hell no. Hell no. Are you kidding me? So the reason, if you ever like, do you guys have like an older relative who can't stand the idea of having black bars on their on their TV set? You ever have that? Like, you go to their house and like, dude, why is the TV all janky? Oh, I want my, I paid for a big screen. I want the whole screen filled up with image. I don't want, So you're never going to see a movie theater with a vertical video. That's the same idea. And that's the reason why people shoot vertical video. They're holding their phones that way and they want to see the whole screen filled up. That's the only reason why. Anyhow. Account for comment. You're gonna. Thanks for the secret. Glad for you to answer some of my questions and reaffirm my experiences. Good. Gotta go. See you later. Account for comment. I recommend. Welcome back, Mr. McDonald. Okay, I'll check that out if I remember. George Boyzon says A24 equals 24 frames per second. Could be A25, which is 25 frames per second. 26.87 frames for life. Hey, you guys ever deal with people sending you videos on cell phone videos? If you ever work in Premiere, like I did a virtual choir where I got like 55 kids sending me like video from iPhones, Androids, Windows phones, if they still use them, I don't know. All kinds of phones, every freaking format you get. But because they're all shooting variable frame rate, Premiere reads them as some weird ass frame rates. Like I've seen like 28.76 frame rate, 29.54 frame rate. It's insane. So when I do, my nose is itching me, probably because I'm lying or something. Oh, there you go. J Alter Ego, shoot on anamorphic lens for vertical screen. Would that give you like a square? Could you imagine that? Like people are like, so that has got to be the height of hipsterish, right? If you want to be like, wear a scarf and then walk around with your phone with an anamorphic adapter, but it's vertically oriented, you'd be like, I am shooting 4x3. Oh, I swear I'm not drinking. I swear. That's hilarious. Do you imagine that? Like, put your vertical and then it's squished. But you're like, I'm shooting for 4x3 aspect ratio. Oh God, oh my God, he's got to wear the hat. He's got to have the scarf because all directors have scarves. That's like a director, scarves and parachute pants. Okay, all right, enough of that. I'm laughing because it's literally it's like Friday, but it's Wednesday because it's almost 2020 is almost done, and yay. All right, back to let's serious. Serious. Cold Light of Day says, in the month of January, I'm challenging myself to not open an Adobe product and create something cool, mostly trying to learn Resolve. Good for you. I would never do that because Adobe is life. Adobe is love. Adobe is love. I mean, look, I pay Adobe, what, $40 a month now? I paid freaking Spectrum $200 last month. I got off on the phone today. I canceled. Oh, that's big news. I canceled my cable, my TV, because like I'm never home to watch it. My mom watches it at home, and but she doesn't really care what she's watching. So I'm like, why am I paying $200? It's ridiculous for this. This is ridiculous. So to me, Adobe, for the fact that I can actually run my business and run everything I do, it's not that much. I've become much more okay with rent. As I do more and more, as I make more money, I become more okay with rent. Because I have to. You know, it's like I'd rather rent things than buy them straight out because sometimes that's better. Like the other thing I was talking about, talk about renting things, a choice of mine. I own a wireless Sennheiser microphone. I was thinking I should buy a second one for those cases where I go out and I shoot a documentary where I have two people that need to be mic'd. I should have two microphones. But I thought to myself, that's $600. If I rent a second one, it's costing me $70 to rent it for like 3 or 4 days. But most of the time I only use one. So if I had bought a second one, I'd be out $600, and then I'd be out $600 and it'd be sitting there gathering dust. So just rent it when you need it. And that kind of mindset is foreign. So you're thinking, well, you know, my studio's full of crap. It's full of gear because I buy a lot of stuff. There's something to be said about it. If you own something, it's always available. It's always ready for you. That's great. But I'm being more and more okay with rent. Emiliano Morgia says it's not alcohol. It's just the end of 2020, and that is absolutely right. We're all glad it's almost over. I got the city that I work with is going to shoot off some fireworks tomorrow, so I got one more job I want to try to do to capture those fireworks for tomorrow. They're like, well, we got plenty of fireworks footage. I'm like, no, you don't have end of 2020 fireworks. You need that footage is important. George Boyza says, if I rent a film, it costs 99 cents, but buying a film, it costs $14.99. Exactly. Just rent the film. You're not going to watch it again. If you want to watch it again, then buy it eventually. Yeah, renting is great for gear, not for software, not so much for me. I don't know. Is software not gear? Kind of is, isn't it? It's gear. One of the things I was thinking about talking about this, but I'm not sure it's a really good business advice. But I think there's a misunderstanding of the importance of debt. Like debt is, and this can sound like bad advice, but if you are buying things to make money, then debt is good, because debt is money you don't have right now, but you're paying off in the future. So if you bought like a machine that actually this is an example, because I deal with this in certain like I do a lot of business sim games like Railroad games or Transport Tycoon or Railroad Tycoon or games like that, and I think it's this weird. They put you in a weird mentality where like you don't want to have any debt on your books, but in reality, if you've been in accounting, if you've gone through accounting like I have, you know that the business equation is assets plus liability equals equity, right? So if you can leverage your what's the average assets plus liability. If you can add liability, gain more. If you can leverage your liabilities, you can actually get more assets, and they'll put those assets into work, and it creates more equity. So in a sense, you kind of want to maximize your debt. And I'm not saying, and look, hey, nose is itching. I'm not saying go out and go crazy on credit cards, because the thing with credit cards is they have the interest rates they'll kill you. They'll totally upset that equation. But carrying debt, especially in a business sense, is a good thing. You don't necessarily want to be debt free. You want to have a little bit of debt because it expands your buying power, expands your capability of of acquiring more assets and putting those assets into use. I've kind of come to that mindset, or that twist on my mind in the last couple years, because with my Canon C200, I can't just afford to drop $6,000 on a camera. But I found a Canon leasing option, which I was able to spread that payments over 3 years, and it opened me up to a lot more possibilities. Now, I also did the same thing with a Canon cinema lens. Like, cinema lens is like $4,000. I don't feel comfortable dropping $4,000 out of my check account. I'm not these big YouTubers like, Linus or Linus Tech or Quarter Digital. I can't afford that. I mean, I could if I pulled out my savings, but I don't want to. But I leveraged that over 2 years. I get the glass, I get the equipment that I feel like really pushes my abilities ahead, and I get to spread it over a longer term. So that, in that sense, debt is a good thing. Be careful. Don't over leverage yourself. You gotta walk that tightrope, man. And sometimes I'm like, dude, am I over leveraging myself? Because I feel like I'm getting to that point. So yeah, you have to be careful with debt. You want a little bit, but you don't want to go overboard. And it's easy to go overboard. It's so easy. Like, you get a credit card, I could buy everything, and you end up buying everything, and you realize I spent like $10,000 and shit. I know. What's wrong with my nose, man? It's not cool. It's the end of 2020, man. It's not sugar. Is it a sugar for nose? That's what it is. Yeah. No. I've never done that. Never in my life. Never. The hardest thing I've done is take a hit off of a what's it called? Not crack pipe. What are you guys? I'm not that. Hit off of one of those misters. Dang it! What is with my nose? One of those whatever vapes. Done a couple hits of vape and had some gummies that were, man. They talk about like DMT, like seeing the elves and all that stuff. And I was like, man, I remember I took this gummy, this TLC gummy, and I must have taken like 2 of them or something, and like I thought I was going nuts. I was seeing all these colors, these bright like flashes and stuff, and I go on YouTube and I look up this DMT elves, and like, oh my god, I saw the DMT elves. I actually saw them. So yeah, my brain with TLC went there, and I'm not talking about Learning Channel either. THC, sorry, not TLC. John Smith, why haven't you bought a 12K camera? Don't you swim in that fine YouTube money? Did you guys watch the Linus clip about the 12K cameras? Man, not a good experience for him on that. Linus Tech Tips, he did a video about how much trouble the 12K camera was giving him. So, John Hess, are you going to Comic-Con San Diego if it happens? I would love to go to Comic-Con. I've never been though. I mean, I'm so close to it that we could make a trip out of it. But Comic-Con is always such a crazy, crazy thing. TLC gummy. Yeah, I know. George Boys Vet says 1.05 is only on the Santa Claus 1994, so they can fit the Denny's scene on it. I don't know what 1.05. What is with my nose? Anyhow. Hi, Derek. I've seen you in the comments. I know you read a lot of stuff. I don't understand what the hell you're talking about at the time. Sorry about that, man. I can get a little annoyed with comments sometimes. So don't take me too harshly on those things. If you show up on my live streams, I will be very, very kind to you, because hey, you're here on the live stream. What the hell are you watching this for? You could be watching something else. You could be watching Wonder Woman 84. A DVD, we can change the frequency. There are special modes for it. Okay. Cliff Toten, 24p is great when actually we watch in 24p. 24p I watch on 60 hertz monitor sucks. Shears frames. No, we're going to talk about that. I need to make a video on that. So, we've been watching 24 FPS. My nose it looks terrible when I'm rubbing my nose like that. We've been watching 24p on 60 hertz TVs for a long time. The reason why PC monitor sucks is because of something called sample and hold. Sample and hold is the problem, and unfortunately, the only way to solve that, I believe, with PC monitor is just black frame insertion. So black frame insertion is the secret to making 24 FPS look really, really good on a sample and hold monitor like a OLED monitor TV or a computer monitor. And otherwise, I kind of agree. Like, I was watching some stuff I shot today, and like, this does not look very good when I'm watching it on this monitor. I have a little confidence monitor, which is like a more of an older, well, I'm not gonna say older, but it's not nearly as sample and hold. The technology is not quite as crisp and sharp, so it looks better on that monitor. But then if I watch it on a CRT television, 24 looks great. So the CRTs are at 60 hertz. So sample and hold is the problem. And the thing is, because I am in the middle of all that debate, you have to realize, sometimes you just have to realize, like, don't overthink it. Just get used to it. Because the brain is so, like, if your goal was super smooth video, then 24 will never get you there. But if your goal was filmic video, and you see a little bit of judder, like, oh, that's film. It doesn't bother you. Eric Court reminds me of some recent memes. What's one thing that's great if you're rich, but despicable if you're poor? Debt. That's so true. That's so true. Like, that's look, that is something that took me a while to, because, like, look, can anybody afford a Red camera? No, most people can't. But a lot of people go into debt to do it, or leverage debt. Even most businesses leverage a debt on like a Red camera or an expensive piece of technology. They don't just cash buy it. They put it on debt and they pay it off over time. And then you can always sell it and then regain some of your debt. You're not always. I'm turning into Rudolph because my nose. I know. So anyhow, that's my thought on debt. I was thinking about making that a video, but I don't know if I would feel comfortable giving that kind of business advice. Cliff Tilton, 29.97 fits into 60p evenly, only adds 6 frames per second to 20. Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is 29.97, 30, is not 24. And it looks different than 24. And even if you did a pan at 30p, it still looked jittery. Like, that's the point. The jitteriness of 24 is not, or doesn't go away when you evenly divide it into 60p. That's not the thing. The problem is sample and hold. Sample and hold means you can see. And I think I keep talking about, like, every single stream somebody brings up, well, it's because it's 60. 24 doesn't go into 60 evenly. Well, yeah, it does. It's called 3-2 pull down. It's been done, dude. So it does go in evenly. It just goes into it in a different cadence. And that's actually the way, like, look, another point that, like, gamers go buy a 144 hertz monitor or buy a 180 hertz monitor or some crazy ass monitor, right? But is every game performing exactly at 144 hertz? And I realize there's VSync and things like that. But a lot of, a gamer would be like, I got 45 frames a second. I got 672 frames a second. Yeah, but you're having a 144 hertz monitor. Doesn't go into it evenly. It doesn't matter because the evenness doesn't matter. It's really more about stability. Like, if you can maintain like a 65 frames per second on a 120 hertz monitor, like, and it's steady, you won't notice. You won't complain because, oh my God, it's not even. Now, I realize VSync, screen tearing, stuff like that. But with 24 over 60, you don't have screen tearing. It doesn't work that way. And I believe screen tearing happens only when you have frame rate that's higher than your screen refresh. Maybe lower. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not deep into gaming. I love my game. I like gaming, but I'm not going to sit here and argue about freaking gaming all day long. Anyhow, my nose, dude. Drink more Coke. Do more Coke. I don't do Coke, guys. Mess Lab Manufacturing Company. I do want to tell you that. I learned a lot. Thanks, man. Hope to try to teach you some more. I try to, here's the thing, too. Here's the thing. That's like, I'm going to call this channel, Here's the Thing. It's like, hi, Michael from Vsauce. Hi, John from Filmmaker IQ. Here's the thing. All right, I've been accused of being Michael from Vsauce on too many videos because I pop up for my videos on the bottom. A lot of the things that I teach on my filmmaking channel was stuff that I didn't know until I did the research to learn this. Like, a lot of stuff I do. That's why the videos take so long, because I want to learn. I want to research the hell out of something. So a lot of videos I have to learn how to do, and then I'll show you how I did it. So I'm not teaching stuff I already knew, although I'm trying to do some more of those videos because I can't always do the work, so it takes a long time to do the work. So when I get a lot of people get angry with me and argue with me about stuff, it's like the reason why I like to argue with people on certain topics about filmmaking and photography, especially like 24, depth of field, frame rate equivalence, and all that stuff, full frame equivalent, man, is that I used to believe a lot of myths too. And so when I see other people believing those myths, I like to challenge them because I know I'm right. So I challenge people in their myths. And when they see the truth, like, oh, it's cool. That's why I do like doing that. I enjoy, and I also I enjoy arguing when I know I'm right. I love that. My eyes haven't adjusted to what gamers see, but I see FPS in videos I shoot. Sure, yeah, I see FPS, and we all see FPS in the videos we shoot. Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. It says Nick Ruiz. Yes, my nose. I swear to God, I'm going to have to go off the line because of my nose here. I think it's the COVID. It's the COVID. Oh, Cowboy Frank, research. That's why my videos are so good. Yeah, that's why it takes so goddamn long to produce. Is because I spend so much time researching them, and I spend so much time also trying to think about how do I convey this concept. And I want to get beyond the. I do want to put out some more content regularly because honestly, there's 148 people watching this dang thing. That's ridiculous for me. I've never had such a high number. But I should produce more because you guys are here watching. I have an audience. Let's do some fun stuff. Dang it. Let's not sit around and mope all day. Let's make some stuff. Let's make something great. Ah! As I throw this keyboard off the window and get upset and trash my microphones. Let's make something great. Ah! Crash. Okay. There are a lot of channels that cover filmmaking basics. Few actually go in depth past the basics. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I don't want to go back and here's what the 180-degree rule is. I want to do a video on 180-degree rule, but I wanted to do a video on how to break it and do it in a way that you can't even tell you broke it. That's the movie. That's more of a thing. I've always thought about doing that. And there's some shows I've watched where hey, they just broke the 180-degree rule. I didn't even notice it because they were this so smoothly. So stuff like that. Oh, Derek Roberts. I watch games on YouTube just to see how it ends. So I don't play. The weird thing about games is a lot of games, some of the more popular ones, I play and then get bored. So I play all the way till I play Red Dead Redemption, and I play 60% of the game, and I just lose interest. I'm sure I could get more into it again. Or I play Witcher 3, play it, and then I get bored with it. And I just get bored. And having to do more stuff. Hey, Khalil from Bruxelles, Belgium. Walter White, He Who Knocks. I have not seen Breaking Bad. I'm sorry. Emmanuel, thanks for the super chat, 99 cents. Awesome. Thank you so much, dude. You guys, if you want a super chat, I'm not going to stop you. You don't have to. We're all hanging out here. This is just a chill stream, man. But don't feel pressured to super chat. But if you do, I'm not going to stop you. Just remember, YouTube gets most of that, or it gets a third of that. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm going to let that go. Soundscape Car Audio says, you should critique video submissions from your viewers. A lot of us never get feedback from someone who knows their shit. Well, that's not a bad idea. Now, the question is, how hard are you going to let me critique your submissions? Because we can go full bore. I can give you both barrels. You might not like it. That's my only concern, man. That's my only concern about that. It's you guys, if I were to let loose on everything I thought, then you might not like it, but you might learn from it. I've had situations where I would give somebody a full both barrels critique, and they come back oh, that was awesome, thank you, man. John Smith says, hit me hard, baby. Hit me hard, daddy. Yeah, that's true. Because I think I do tend to try to put myself in your shoes, and I think I try to make a little more of an effort to get myself in your shoes. I was talking about critiquing the other day on a stream a long time ago about how when you critique someone, sometimes you have to separate what is artistic purpose and what is just like craft stuff. Like, okay, say you wanted to make a movie that says, I think that 60 frames a second is the best thing in the world, that everything should be 60 frames a second, and you asked me to critique your video. Now, if I critique it, I should not be critiquing your opinion, because your purpose of creating that video was to tell me that 60 frames a second is the best thing ever. And so if I come to your video and you're asking me for a critique of it, if you're asking for a critique of your, like, I shouldn't be critiquing your purpose or the video in terms of purpose. I should be critiquing how do I get your video to tell you what you think, what you're trying to say. This is probably a bad example. I'm sure it is. But in my critique, I shouldn't be telling you how I think I want your story to end up. I should be telling you how I think how to get your film. This is impossible for me. This is what's really hard for me to get out there, because it's hard to explain. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? It's that I want to make your movie your message, and I want to help you get your message across the best, not to get my message across. Maybe that's the best way to say it. I think it's like critiquing your girlfriend's poetry back in high school. No way to win, says Jashin. Oh, super chat, by the way, real quick. Saucer R, I've been watching videos about filmmaking, still have no idea how to make film stock. But I learned about movie making. Very good. Yeah, watch the Kodak channel. You might learn how to make film there. You know what's funny? It's not to go all weird on this, but there's a correlation between making film and making explosives. And I know it's a little weird. We had this weird terrorist bombing here in Nashville. It was bizarre. I mean, I wouldn't say it's terrorism, but whatever it was, a suicide bomb. But yeah, like film and bomb making, very close. In fact, that's why we don't have a lot of old films, because they went up in smoke. They literally blew up. So anyhow, not to get too weird about it. George Boyvet says 66.6 FPS is the devil's version of that. The devil's frame rate. There's an idea for a horror film. A filmmaker goes out and makes a film at 66.6 frames per second, and the devil appears. Ah! Jay Alter, how to improve your storytelling? I don't know. We'll figure it out one day. How to improve your storytelling is a good question, though. Boy, I think part of it's also putting yourselves in the shoes of your audience, or being in the audience. I think it's a lot of times with filmmakers, or at least storytellers, is how do you be a stranger, and how do you approach this as a stranger? I think a lot of people look at or make a film for themselves or make a film for their friends. That's like the first error. Like if you're a teenager, if you watch like a high school movie, the film was not made for you. It's made for their buddies to laugh at themselves, right? That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But to make it the next level, you need to make a movie for other people. That's where it gets just the next level. Stranger Sounds says good production values doesn't equal good content, and vice versa. Absolutely. Although good production will sink good content. Like bad production will sink good content. You can have a great story, but if you can't hear what the hell they're saying, what's the point? Somebody was asking where I'm from. California. I'm in California. In the 70s or 80s, John, you could worked on PBS. Would have watched you. I always liked Cosmos. Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan was one of my bright heroes. Out in space, billions of stars, each little pinpoint of light, far away galaxies, far, exploring the cosmos. Billions and billions of stars. He never said billions and billions. I realize that. But what the hell, we're saying that. Carl Sagan. You guys remember Carl Sagan Cosmos? The new Cosmos is garbage. Neil Tyson, whatever his name is, deGrasse. Yeah. Nah, I'm not a big fan of Neil Tyson deGrasse. Neil Tyson deGrasse, no, I'm a Macho Kaku guy. Machio Kaku. Now there's a History Channel universe talk. I like Macho. He's the underappreciated. The Asian is the underappreciated. Okay, I'm not gonna. I won't say it. I won't get canceled. Yeah, films made for friends always have too many in jokes. Only the friends know. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably guilty of that too. I make comedy films on YouTube that I think are filmmaking friends jokes. Only filmmakers would get like that reference. Stranger Sounds says bad audio and video aside, some of the best punk albums have the zero production value and actually helps. I agree. But not just bad audio, but like if your video is not exposed properly, that too will also sink. Like if you can't see the image, like craft is important. Craft, you can't deny that. The problem I think when we have these discussions like which is more important is it becomes a binary thing, right? It becomes binary that you think that you can have zero of this and zero. No. Like if you have really bad craft, you're going to have really bad storytelling. Generally speaking, like it's a very strong correlation between bad craft and bad storytelling. I think there's no question about it. Now, are there instances where somebody, because even the story comes across even despite the bad craft? Yeah, I think that happens. It can happen, but I think craft does affect, and obviously too, we've all seen very, very bad movies that have terrific craft. Donnie Pearson, my introduction to Cosmos was the original PBS series. That's what I'm talking about. The original Carl Sagan version. The current version does not. I love the current version as well. Version the same way I love the. Oh, good for you. I don't really care. I never finished watching the. Nick Ruiz, Michio Kaku. That's the name. Yeah, that's the one. Alan Silvestri wrote the. Yeah, but you know who wrote the original Cosmos? Vangelis. Dum dum boom dee doo da. Vangelis is here. He's a crazy Greek composer who writes all his own music and performs it all. Vangelis is such a cool guy. His music was so iconic of that era too. Operation Baboon says, we live in times where muggles know what a trope is. I think we can make inside jokes that'll get picked up on. Pop culture references have become ubiquitous. But like I can make joke. I made a lot of jokes that are very like film heavy, and I wouldn't say most muggles know what some of these films. Like you'd be surprised. I think you'd be surprised how many people if you went out to the popular culture and say, how many movies of the AFI Top 100 have you seen? And you'll be surprised how many people will say zero. Like there's a lot of people out there in the world that have seen like zero AFI Top 100 movies. And yes, I'm talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like zero. I think you'd be surprised. Maybe people that have seen maybe 5? Okay. I'll give them that. But I'll bet you, I'll guarantee you, a lot of 18-year-olds have seen zero AFI Top 100 movies. My Carl Sagan impression makes me think of NPR radio station. Yes, very much so. Rai says, shaky cam is also used in disguised badly choreographed fight scenes. Yep. Badly choreographed, badly choreographed fight scenes sometimes also describes independent film. Like, come on, like independent filmmakers, I love how, you have to cut people a little bit of slack, because it's like, independent filmmakers don't have a lot of money to make stunts, so they have to pull every single trick of the book, including shaky cam, right? So we can forgive them that, but we can't forgive the expensive movie for having shaky cam for, cutting corners and not having that shot. I realize they have more money, but still, it's how you allocate the money. Operation Baboon says, Tarantino is a good example. Make the movies you want to watch. I full-heartedly agree with that. That's my antidote to people that say high frame rate should be in film. Okay, great. Go and make your high frame rate movies. Don't let me stop you. Because I know none of them will. They never do. And I also know that anybody that goes out and makes a film in high frame rate Most people. I've had people come to me with like, here's my high frame rate movie. It looks great, right? Not really. Most people that make films in high frame rate realize, 24 frame looks better. Because you just get used, you realize that sooner or later. Oh, Mayvox says, what are your thoughts on The Mandalorian? Did there really a civil war among the core crew? I don't know about the Civil War. I like The Mandalorian. I thought The Mandalorian, the one thing, okay, so like we talk about Mandalorian versus like, say, Wonder Woman 1984, the two approaches, thoughts about it was like, I think The Mandalorian has a lot of unnecessary violence. And I'm not saying that from a weird, like, anti-violence take. But in the final episode of The Mandalorian, where the Mandalorian dude, like the Boba Fett goes and meets with the wrestler chick. I know, I shouldn't call her that. The wrestler chick and the other lady. And there's a fight between the two good guys. Boba Fett has a fight, like a fisticuffs, with this other lady. And it's like, why are they fighting? They're on the same side. And we know they're going to be on the same side. It's given. They're on the same side. They're just putting a fight in there for production value. So that stuff like that bothers me. And I realize it's trope, it's part of the genre. And I realize it's called Star Wars, not Star Peace Talks. So we have to have war, we have to shoot them up, we can't discuss things. So I know it's Star Wars. So I accept it. And I accept that in every superhero genre movie. And Wonder Woman, too. I get it. She's going to beat the shit out of people. But Wonder Woman's a little different. She's beating them, but she's not killing them. She's not doing it needlessly. Wonder Woman tries to avoid violence when she can. She tries to convince you to stop doing your horrible thing that you're doing. So anyhow. Yeah, clear in films. I was so confused. Why are they fighting randomly? Because they have to get the fight. London Sound Factory, how do you tell the truth on television and film? Oh boy, we're getting to a deep topic there. How do you tell the truth? What is the truth? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. A terrible, terrible impression, John. Should be shot and hanged. Canceled immediately. Invoked everything you learned from my videos, forget it all because I've been canceled for making that terrible impersonation of Will Smith. Tell the truth. Tell him the truth. Oh my God, sorry. How do you tell the truth? Sorry about making fun of your comment. How do you tell the truth, man? What is truth? What is truth but an illusion? Are my truths the same as yours? We both have truth. The truth is hard, man. I think truth is heart, man. Truth is hard. Truth is heart. Can you get to the heart? As I get older, the more I look at nerds and their brains, and I think, man, you guys are just as full of shit as the jocks, man. Because it's not about the brains, it's about the heart. I feel all kinds of things, man. Just keep living, dude. Truth will find you. Like a fine Lincoln vehicle driving down the high freeway. Just keep on living, man. Keep on living. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. At least don't lie. Don't lie. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. What is truth but a lie that we tell ourselves? Oh, yeah. You can't handle the truth. It's so hard, man. Truth, I think, is a matter of... Maybe truth is just not lying. Maybe truth... But then again, we lie, and film is nothing but lies at 24 frames a second. So how can you not lie in a medium where it's all about lies? But where's the truth? Boy, I'm dancing around the topic, aren't I? Oh man, did you bring up House MD, Ravikant Rai? House MD. Are we gonna go there? Are we gonna go? House MD was one of my favorite shows, and then it took a dump on it. It went so downhill for me. I turned so deeply on House MD. I loved the show. It was a great show for a long time, but then it felt like it fell in a trap where it didn't want to evolve, and I think it purposely. Because Hugh Laurie was saying this on these talk shows, these little group chat channels. He's like, the show is like an onion. Like the problem with the show, like he said the TV show is the character never evolves. The character is always the same, and that was the ultimate downfall of that show. Because the more you hung out with House, the more of an asshole he became. And like by season 5 or 6, you're like, okay, I get it. He's an asshole. I don't want to spend any more time with him. There's nothing redeeming about him. Like, you want to follow him. You want to see him grow and change and learn. That's the point. I think that's one thing that House MD taught us all as far as TV shows go. You can't fall for that old trick of the characters never grow. They have to grow. They have to change. They have to develop. Pedro finally caught on to my Matthew McConaughey comment. Maybe I'm just reading too far back behind in chat. So, but I think all great TV shows, the character will grow. Look at The Mandalorian. Does The Mandalorian grow? Oh, hell he does. Oh, hell he does. You know. Wait, who's a butthead? What pulls you out of a movie? For me, it's bad physics or graphics. What pulls me out of movies are cheap punches, cheap shots. I don't like cheap stuff. Cheap shots is like, no, come on. Whenever a movie says, oh, no, come on. Like, I can accept weird like physics. It's like Wonder Woman has no fucking concept of physics. I just swore. Did I get demonetized? I think I did. Wonder Woman, it's like, I can fly? Oh, wait, I can fly! So, I don't care. Whatever. That doesn't bother me because, like, I don't care. Because, honestly, I'm looking too much at Gal Gadot. I'm like, I'm just staring at Gal Gadot like, oh, she's floating. She's still Gal Gadot. That's pretty hot. That's me. Mayvox says, what is my favorite franchise? Mine is Warhammer 40K, LOL. They make Warhammer movies now? I thought it's a video game, right? My favorite franchise as far as the gaming is concerned is probably Civilization. Love that series. Operation Baboon says, good TV shows have real character development over many, many seasons. Whedon is great at that. So is Harmon. Yep, I agree. That's the problem with House. He had no character development. He was literally an asshole in the first season. He becomes, maybe he becomes a bigger asshole in the second and third season. Sean Williams says, unnecessary exposition pulls me right out of a film. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Well, sometimes you need to explain shit. Operation Baboon says, inconsistencies in logic when reality is broken for no reason and without explanation. Mess up with it. Well, okay, we're flying by too fast here. Hi, John. Who's your favorite jazz trumpet player? Probably, I love, what's his face? From Australia. Oh, gosh. I can't remember his name. That's how much I love him. He's James Morrison. James Morrison. He's one of my favorites. Although I don't have James Morrison albums, but I love his sound. I love his humor. I love everything about James Morrison. Although I don't necessarily own any albums of his. So, like Maynard Ferguson's always been one of my favorites. Like just like Maynard Ferguson is to jazz what it's like workout music. It's not really artistic jazz, but my God, it's fun music. John, are you your industry insider? Can you introduce me to Gal Gadot? Yes, I can. In fact, Gal Gadot and I have a threesome every other weekend. Yeah, exactly. That's how close I am to Gal Gadot. Yeah. Can we do the Gal Gadot thing where we just start singing? Look at the camera and start singing "Imagine" in a very, very cringy way. Imagine there's no Wonder Woman. No comic book movies for people to get upset about. Imagine if Star Wars Return of the Jedi, or what's the name of that movie? Last Jedi, was beloved by all. People make fun of me because I liked Last Jedi, and I hated Skywalker Returns, whatever the hell that last one is. Sam Jameson says, I love James Morrison. He can play any... I think James Morrison had a deal with the devil. He went down to Georgia. Instead of a fiddle, he took a trumpet and a trombone and basically every brass instrument. And learned, and then the devil gave him the power to play every freaking one of them. Anyhow. Oh, Tina Louise is still alive? Well, that's cool. You ever notice that Tina Louise are they have the two girls in Bob's Burgers? I've always noticed that. It always bothered me. I was like, that's weird. Tina Louise, Come on here. Oh, Bob. And that's a terrible impersonation of the mom's voice. Imagine if there's no Gal Gadot. I love Wonder Woman. I mean, look, I don't have no girlfriend. It ain't gonna be a mystery to you. Look at me. Ain't no mystery as to why. But Wonder Woman's is such a wonderful marvel of femininity. It's such a awesome portrayal. It's it's strength and kindness and just everything. I get warm and fuzzy just thinking about Wonder Woman. It's everything about her is just, and not in a totally sexual way, although let's face it, there is a little sexual part of it. But there's just something wonderful about Wonder Woman. Wow. That was deep, John. Is there something bad about Batman? Is there something super about Superman? Would you say there's something spiderish about Spider-Man? Good God, John, you're such a deep thinker. I wish I had that big brain there. Look at that big brain, John. Thinking about Superman. He's so super. So pathetic. So pathetic. Oh my God. Mayavox says, Hollywood is so polarized, which is a huge turnoff for me as filmmaker. So many movements and forward power fighting in control over Hollywood. Yeah, I know. And it's you just have to learn to either turn that off and just ignore it for the noise. Rivercant says, how many Fast and Furious films will there be? Maybe 30 or more? I don't know. I've not seen a single Fast and Furious movie. George Morrison went down to Georgia in Australia. Oh, is there a Georgia in Australia? I guess because King George. Oh. Getaway Car 02. Last Jedi is greater than Rise of Skywalker. Should not be controversial opinion. Why is it? It's because. Okay. Here's the thing. John from John from Filmmaker IQ. Here's the thing, guys. You ever notice that certain films, like Rise of like Last Jedi, like Wonder Woman 84, even I've seen, it just becomes cool to hate. It just literally becomes cool to snark. I gave my opinion on 84 Wonder Woman recently, and then I went to Reddit to r/movies and tried to read the comments. Every single one was snark, 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 snark. And not one person said hey, it was okay. I didn't think it was that great. I went to Rotten Tomatoes and I read the reviews, and I thought the reviewers, the people actually that wrote the reviews, the people that didn't like the movie were making good points. People that liked the movie, no one gave the movie 4 stars, okay, on Rotten Tomatoes. No one gave it 4 stars or 10 rating. Everyone gave it 2.5, 3 was the best. If you were looking for a positive review, 2.5, 3 tops you're gonna. Well, not even 3, 2.5 tops you're gonna get it, right? But it was if you take a not objective, but more of an impassioned view, it was a meh movie. It was a meh movie. To me, a little bit better than meh. But anyhow, it's become popular to just snark on everything and just say the worst possible thing about everything. And the thing with Last Jedi was I feel like people just snark the crap out. It becomes mimetic, and people like Red Letter Media, which I love and I adore them, and I think they are, it becomes whatever their opinion is, becomes everyone wants to join in on that. They are very responsible for the prequels being bashed to hell. Let's face it, they're one of the first leading voices that really hate on the prequels, which I think were probably deserved because I feel like they weren't very good Star Wars prequels. But you're seeing nowadays, it's especially with The Mandalorian and all these other shows, there's a very, very huge prequel revival. People are really enjoying a lot of kids that grew up on the Star Wars prequels really think they're really good movies. So, last episode of Game of Thrones. Boo! Universal opinion. I liked the last episode of Game of Thrones. I think the more distance I have from the Game of Thrones ending, the last season of it, the more I will agree with this opinion that the last season was very rushed. That it would have benefited for being stretched out to 2 seasons, and let time to explore all the things, right? But I think the main thrust of the story, where it ended, as far as the seasons go, is exactly where it needed to go, and it would have made no sense for it to go any other way. Although it really would have benefited from having to take in more time and explore a lot more of these characters. But I think those two, Benioff and what's his other face? Benioff has that beard thing. He's got that really cool beard. I think Benioff was just ready to move on. Let's all just hate on Jar Jar just because it's cool. Misa thinks he's worth hating on. I love the Mandalorian and Bill Burr. I love Bill Burr's comment. Hey, Mandalorian, what are you, some sort of... Yeah, Misa, he starts making fun of Jar Jar, which I thought was wonderful. Yeah, you gotta love Bill Burr. Bill Burr is awesome. I love to hang out with Bill Burr. If you guys haven't seen it, check out the Bill Burr remix video where they have Bill Burr just dissing on Star Wars in The Mandalorian. They put his podcast voice. And he's like, don't you guys hate Star Wars as much as I do? I mean, come on, Star Wars. I hate it when the Chewbacca was useless, man. I like it when he was, oh wait, he's Andre the Giant. Anyhow. Have I joined Stage 32? No, I haven't. I should check. I should probably do some more stuff like that. I don't. Please talk about Star Wars Restoration. Nah, probably not going to. Oh, did Bill Burr make an appearance on Breaking Bad? I did not watch Breaking Bad, so. I agree to disagree. You can agree to disagree all you want. That's fine. You know, like, it's weird. So on Facebook, I was saying this about Wonder Woman. It was like, because a friend of mine on Facebook wrote a post that pretty much I agree with 100%. Like, literally the movie was so, not very good, but I'm glad they're making that kind of movie. It's kind of cool to see it's a little different than just punch the bad guy. So we agreed on that. And then I'm like, I totally agree with your opinion. My whole thing is like, I don't like it. I just see like everyone hating on this movie for no reason. And then this other guy got into a huge like angry debate with me saying like, I can't stand it. Well, you know, other people can have opinions too, man. Like, I can't stand it when like you people come out and say like it's not the best movie in the world. And I'm like, didn't we just are we arguing the same thing? Because you're saying I hate it when people say it's the best movie in the world, and I'm saying I hate when people say it's the worst movie in the world. Why are we arguing? It's like we're on the same page, dude. We're on the same page. It's like the people that always argue like, oh, it's just an opinion, man, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. It's like you're arguing against my opinion then. If you believe everyone has their own opinion, then why are you arguing with me? Because I give you my opinion. That's why I always hate that argument. It's like everyone's always, it's my opinion, man. I'm allowed to have an opinion. Well, yeah, so am I. So we're all allowed to have an opinion. So we can discuss our opinions and we can share them and we can talk about them. We can argue them, whatever. But like that's not an argument to say you have an opinion. Anyhow, that's enough of that. Have you seen Pennyworth, a prequel to Batman? No, I haven't. I might check that. I've been out of the Batman loop for a while. There was a while I was like so into Batman, watching everything Batman, but I haven't been. I was watching Batman during the riots. That's why. Because when riots were happening, I was like, I want some Law and Order and I want some brutality. So I watched Batman. All right. Oh, Mom said it's my turn on the right opinion. Mom's always right. Never argue with Mom. Never argue with women. Period. That's just the rule, right? Woman is always right. It's that song from The Simpsons. Men's smart, but the woman is smarter. Men's smart, but the woman is smarter. What the heck are you guys commenting now? What are you saying? Oh man, I still want to watch Ozark. I watched the first season of Ozark and I watched part of the second season and I lost interest in that show. To me, it's too visually dark. Ozark comes from the same school of photography as Han Solo. Dark as hell. Can't see shit. Yep. London Sound Factory. LOL, someone getting butthurt over your opinion. I know. I'm not butthurt over people having a negative opinion. I'm just saying that there's a bandwagoning effect. Like somebody else was mentioning in comments, there's a bandwagoning, and I'm not sick. I'm just pointing it out. There's a bandwagoning. My nose is going crazy again. Oh, Mavox got a response to the question about. Not sure why you're asking that question. Film directors pick up on remakes 30, 40 years later. Beta males argue with women. Don't ever argue with women. Bitch is always right. I'm sorry, what did I say? I didn't say that. Derek, honestly, I'm so sick of all the superheroes. Don't you think they've all played themselves out yet? You had one superhero movie this year, dude. Wonder Woman. That's the only movie you got. The superheroes. Are there any other superhero movies that came out? I can't think of a single other one. So, I mean, you literally have a lot of other shit to watch. Don't watch superhero movies. It's fine. All right, Operation Boom. Adios, 2:30. You must be over there in like England or something, France or something like that. See you later, man. I forget. You probably told me where you're from, but and I didn't. Hey, Ashraf Ezat from Egypt. Must be early in the morning for you guys too. Have you seen Fincher's Mank? Yeah, I talked about it last week. I'll try and talk about it again. I enjoyed it, but I was really turned off by the sound design. And the story didn't feel very, very, like, fulfilled. It felt interesting. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of it. But I appreciate it. It also felt very inside baseball. Like, you have to know who what's the Thalberg. You have to know who Thalberg was. How many people know who Thalberg is? I think a lot of people, more people know who Louis B. Mayer was, but who the hell knows Irving Thalberg? That's like some serious. You have to be like seriously into that kind of stuff in order to know that. So it's a very hard for like general audiences to appreciate that movie. I'm not going to talk about high frame rate Betamax. VHS is high frame rate too, by the way. There's another superhero movie that debuted on Christmas called We Can Be Heroes, the sequel to Adventure in Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Okay, we'll count that in our two superhero movies that came out this year. I guess would you consider Sonic the Hedgehog movie? No, I wouldn't consider it a superhero movie. Liverpool, Barcelona, Christina, Barcelona. R-rated puppet show. I love those. I always appreciate anybody that makes a puppet show. Bad Santa is a Christmas movie. Of course it is. I saw a meme the other day that said there's a good way to tell a movie is a Christmas movie if it's how to judge if a movie is a Christmas movie. If the movie is about the birth of Jesus, it's a Christmas movie. If it's about family, presents, and Santa Claus, it's a Christmas movie. If it takes place around Christmas, is it a Christmas movie? Maybe. So is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I don't think so. But another movie, a Christmas movie that I pulled out that went, Night of the Hunter. All you nerds out there, have you guys seen Night of the Hunter? AFI Top 100 that most people probably haven't seen. Night of the Hunter, Christmas movie. Ending scene takes place at Christmas. But yeah, that's the one where it says love and hate on each hand. It's like love. On one hand, love this, and on the other hand, hate. And lies smashes and actually the lines are taken straight out to the movie Do the Right Thing. I have not seen V for Vendetta, so I gotta watch V for Vendetta. Is that a Christmas movie? I don't think so. Paul Smith, I like watching behind the scenes of Rodriguez films. Amazing way he can manage such low budgets. Be careful with that. Like I said, my dirty little secret. Behind the scenes are always lies. 100% lies. And then also, you don't necessarily want always low budgets. The problem I always, if I want to rant, let's do one final rant because I've been on for 2 hours now. My nose is going to go crazy here. But the one thing I don't like about people talking about low budgets is that the reason why they're so low budget is because no one got paid. right? It's like, I made my movie for $600. Well, that's because no one got paid. Now, if you want to make movies to make a living, you want to get paid. So advertising that you can make movies and not get paid. Now, I'm not saying you need to pay people. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that you should go out there and make movies and not have people work for free or volunteer or just have fun, work for trade or whatever. I'm totally for that. I do that a lot myself. I trade, I'm just saying that don't sell yourself on the fact that you made a movie for nothing. That's not cool. It's not, and if Warner Brothers came to you and said, hey, you made that movie for $600, well, how about we release it, but we'll pay you $1,200. You doubled your money. That's a good deal, dude, right? No, that's not a good deal. Because, you obviously put a lot of work into it, a lot of free work into it. So don't advertise the fact that you made it for nothing, because it doesn't get you more work. You want more work, you're obviously going to be, anyhow, that's my point on that. I should put that on my chalkboard. Don't advertise how much money you made your movie, how little money you made your movie, because how little money you made your movie for is a fluke. Anyhow, that's what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, is Gremlins a Christmas movie? I wouldn't watch it on Christmas, but whatever. You can. The funny thing is, I watched Mary Poppins. To me, was a Christmas movie for a long time, and Mary Poppins has nothing to do with Christmas. It just happened to be a movie that I like to watch at Christmas time. So, there's a lot of Christmas movies I watch that are not Christmas movies. I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should not work for free. You should work for free. You should definitely work for free if you want to. If you want to do something for free, you should do it. I'm just saying, don't advertise that you made your movie for $600, because if you made a movie for $600 and you sold it for $1,200, you would say, well, that's you doubled your money. No, you didn't. You're getting ripped off. If Warner Brothers came and bought your movie for $1,200, you're being ripped off. If you want to sell it to Warner Brothers, you want to sell it for like $30,000, not $600. Yeah, the most valuable commodity there is time. Besides love. Love. I love you. Love. Anyhow. All right. Well, thanks guys for hanging out with me for 127 minutes. 127 hours. We should do a stream. We're watching 147 hours for 147 hours. See how that flies on YouTube's copyright thing. Have you seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Have I seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Do I look like I haven't seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? It is a Christmas movie. It is a Thanksgiving movie. There's all holiday movies are all the same. It's all the same holiday. Like A Night Before Christmas is really, well, I guess that's Christmas in it. Yeah, if you can afford to work for free and you enjoy it, then yes, work for free. When you start, Linus was saying this. When you start, like, time is the least. When you start your career, you have a lot of time and not a lot of money. And then when you get more established, you have more money, maybe not a lot of money. You have more money and not a lot of time. That's the reality. I think it was Linus Tech Tips. It might have been Adam Savage was saying that too. AdamSavageTested.com, which I also enjoy watching a lot of his stuff too. So, yep. It's not work if it's free. Sometimes it's still work. You can argue that when you're raking the leaves in your front yard. It's not work. It's when you're doing it for free. John Smith says, okay, John, send us your work. We'll do it for free. I know. Oh, it's a hobby if it's not free. Well, I don't know. Washing dishes is not a hobby of mine. All right, I've been on for 129 minutes. Almost now. Don't forget to give Gal my number. I will. We're gonna have dinner tomorrow night. Me and Gal Gadot. New Year's Eve. We're gonna hang out with Pamela Anderson, Zooey Deschanel, and that one chick that I like. What's her name? I can't remember her name. Isla Fisher and Amy Adams. We're all gonna get together. We're gonna put our pajamas on. We're gonna pillow fight. You know, we're gonna have a good old time. All of us just hanging out and pillow fighting and just, you know, things. One thing might lead to another. Who knows? We'll put on a Christmas movie. We'll put on a Hallmark movie. And Danica McKellar Keller will come on too. We'll just Winnie from Wonder Years. We just have a great time. It's not a porno. What? Don't go there. It's a very mature, you know, wholesome activity we're involved in. Very much so. Yes, I will be filming some fireworks and then probably watching something on TV. If not, I'll probably just turn on like some movie. I'll probably watch Studio Ghibli movie probably tomorrow night. That's right. Because that's my life. I suffer. I have no social life. I do it for you guys. I have no social life. I am miserable. I do it for you. That's what I do. Alrighty, guys. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to order a pizza and call it for the rest of the night. Take care, guys. I will see you guys later. Go out and make something great in 2021. We'll see you on the other side of the year. Bye-bye.